You know what I mean? As long as it's appropriate when you're taking
Okay. What else? Oh, we did talk about the goodbyes being drawn out. I have noticed that too. I talked with Abigail about that, and I have a timer. I don't know how to use it. Austin has figured out how to use it though. So I'm going to make it a point to bring that to every visit and get into the habit of starting the timer at like the 30-minute mark and like the 15-minute mark. And then, we can get into a little ritual thing at the end to where we, know that it's time to say goodbye so they don't. I know it's mostly Apollo who likes to express himself by running the opposite direction when it's time to go. But he's little, he's 3 now, and he still doesn't know how to articulate his feelings. And so he expresses them, with his actions. And I don't want to be insensitive to him. Because I remember when I was a little kid, that's how I expressed myself was, like running this way or that way or anything. Because I didn't feel like I would be heard if I spoke up. But I see that in Apollo, and I want to honor that for him. But I understand like other people get upset, like So we're gonna work on that.
I appreciate that, Vicki, and I think part of it too is the cleanup time too. And so I guess my suggestion would be too is if you're not done cleaning up, put that as not your priority and just leave that for after and say goodbye to your kids so that you get out of there in a timely manner, and then you can stay and clean up. If the cleanup is just chaotic and that's causing the goodbye to not get done how you would like it to be done, to where you do get to say the things and have those moments with your kids, then let's do that first, and then you can stay and clean up after the kiddos sleep.
Okay, Katie, go ahead.
Yeah, I was just going to add, just to let Vicki know that none of our family time agencies allow recordings. And I know, I heard you say you're not going to do it anymore. But I just wanted to make sure that the whole team was aware that none of them allow like video recordings and stuff. And just to keep that in mind, because if Ariel does get at a point where they can't have those visits, then we'll have to start over with a different agency, and that's not always the easiest transition, so there could be missed time and stuff like that. But I did hear you say that you're not going to do that anymore and you want to take pictures instead. And so that is great, and I appreciate that. I just wanted to make sure everyone was aware about those policies as well.
Okay. Brianna, any other insights you have about the kiddos that you want to pass along? If you're still with us, let's see. My list got, I think Brianna is no longer with us. Katie, any updates from placement that you can provide the team?
Yeah, so I first wanted to, since we were talking about visits, I just wanted to let Vicki know I'm still working on having your stepmom and dad supervise those visits. I'm hoping to get a family coach authorized to pick up Austin and bring him wherever your visit is, just because that is one of the things placement has, as a resource that they're able to use if they don't feel comfortable in those situations. And I'm not saying that they don't, but I just really utilize that as a outsider looking in and making sure there's no other situations that you similar to what you explained to me with the other placement home. And so mainly just a precaution. But I did see little Austin on Friday, and he is the cutest boy. Like, I smile so much when I think about him because he is adorable. He is doing super well in math. He's scoring high on all of his exams. I mean, he got a book. He did so well. He got to take a book home. Yeah. He's just doing really well. I think mainly what he's struggling with is the times when you bring things to visits and then he can't take it back with him. I think it's very confusing for him. And then it's causing this confusion of but why can't I have it? Like it's supposed to be for me type of thing. So I would just really encourage you not to do that anymore. I think it's very confusing for him, and the situation in general is confusing for any kid, and so we want to limit that confusion as much as possible. And I think too, he continues to do well in therapy and is doing very well there. I think he doesn't express a lot, and I don't know if he knows how to express things. So instead, he just more bottles it all in, and then something, super little happens, and then he just explodes, and nobody knows. Like, placement obviously knows why. Like, there's, things happening. He's in this situation, but the other kids in the home don't know why. They don't understand things of that nature, and so we are really just trying to empower him to express how he feels. And give him that choice and things. And I know that's something he's also working in therapy. But overall, I think he's doing really well. School's going great, everything of that nature. And he's very funny. He loves to, tell me jokes and stuff like that. And so we do have fun when we visit together. I haven't seen Artemis or Apollo yet. I think our home visit is next week, and I can update you after that home visit as well. Just when I was there last month, though, I could see they're super tight. They love each other. They were playing super great with each other. And so they are also very cute and adorable. And I can't wait to have more conversations with them.
Yeah.
So do you have any particular questions about the kids or anything you want to know, Vicki?
I do, but I wanted to talk about Austin and his bottling up. That is a personality trait that he inherited from his father. And I think we really need to focus on like helping him understand how to recognize, like how I was saying about Apollo. Apollo is only 3, and so he can't like do the inner reflection and then articulate what it is that he's feeling. He just, expresses. And Austin, it's definitely like genetically inherited from his father and his father's father before him and stuff. And I didn't know how to help Hunter in those situations. Hunter unfortunately resolved to drinking and doing drugs, like serious drugs. And I felt very powerless. He would explode. Luckily, he wasn't violent or anything to us, but it was scary. And I don't want Austin to have to feel, that that's the only way that he can release some of his tension. There's got to be something, and he's such a smart and resilient person, but I don't want him to be left alone to figure that out on his own. So I really definitely want to be involved in helping him navigate that. And there is something. So Apollo said, not this previous Thursday, but the Thursday before that, we were at Ariel. Abigail was out that day, and Jerry was substituting. She couldn't hear Apollo say this because Austin was coughing a lot. He had this like really dry, raspy cough for the past couple weeks. But I was talking with Apollo, and Apollo had all these Band-Aids on. He has like bruises on his forehead. Like it's got 2 bruises on each side of his forehead, and Band-Aids on his knees, and cuts on his arms. And I was like, what happened? And he said that he fell off of the playground in Dominique's backyard or something. And I'm 100% sure he said Dominique, because he said Dominique like 3 or 4 times. And I don't know who that is, but he said, like he just went on. Apollo will just go on and he'll just keep talking. And so he said, Dominique couldn't help me, and my dad couldn't help me because they were in the room and the room was locked. He said like he was in the backyard in a playground. I don't know like how much of that is true, but do you know of a person named Dominique who's been background checked?
I am not sure. And so I will follow up on that for sure and see what that's about and see if I can figure out what that's coming from.
That would be awesome. That would give me a lot of peace of mind, just to make sure, like, whoever this person is, like, as long as they have like a background, that's okay. I would really I can't speak to Austin right now, but if I could, I would be like, hey, please don't leave the kids outside playing, for any reason. It's just not safe. But other than that, they've been doing really good, and they do love each other so much. There's the cutest little unit.
Vicki, any other concerns, as that was one of your agenda items with the elders, civil and criminal?
Right. As far as the kids go, that was a huge concern that I've been meaning to bring up. I do have concerns with their Apollo and Artemis's dad, and I don't know what he's doing. It just doesn't seem right. There's a lot to go along with that, but it's probably not the right place to talk about it here. I'll probably just talk to Katie about it and try and come up with some solutions, because I feel like it's kind of like waging war against me. And not that I'm not up for it or anything, but like it's confusing. I don't know what their intentions are.
Okay, so a formal next step that you'll talk directly with Katie about those concerns versus here. Okay. And just so you know, Brian was able to join us as well. So you have therapy support here as well, and would love to hear kind of some realizations that you have come to in therapy, as you noted in the agenda. You've realized some of your difficulties. We'll give you the floor to talk about that and get Brian's perspective as well.
So Brian has helped me get a different perspective on some of my communication habits. I was raised by my dad, and my dad is a very facetious person. He's like got the most dry humor ever, and like he raised me like that, and so I'm just like naturally goofy. Like the way that little Austin inherited some of his traits from his dad, I've inherited some traits from my dad, and I love him very much. But because I was raised by my dad, who's a man, it's not typical for a girl to be so goofy, like and trying not to take things so seriously. Even though I do take things very seriously, I just cope by laughing and making jokes. That is how I have like found the most comfort, is just by joking about something that's probably serious, and everybody's probably looking at me like, is she serious? Did she seriously say that? But really it's not. And I had to have the realization that other people are not recognizing that I'm not being serious. Like it's hyperbole or metaphorical or just facetious. And I really have to watch myself, because there are certain situations where being facetious is the worst thing that I could possibly do, and I need to check myself and say, okay, like that part needs to go, and I need to act in a way that is not going to be perceived by most people as like shocking or like something that's normal to me, like in my head. You know what I mean? I have to think about how other people perceive it.
Vicki, do you feel that has been a barrier in how you've communicated with others in this case? Is that
yes
how it's relevant here? Okay.
It's super relevant, yes, because like it's like if I say something jokingly and like a caseworker in the beginning like doesn't necessarily get the humor, or doesn't even ask like, well, were you joking? Like they just automatically assume that it was serious, then it sets up the entire rest of the relationship to be rocky. And then they have like said crazy things about me like that I'm not even going to bring up again. But yes, definitely checking myself before I wreck myself. So,
and it's important that others are looking at you in an unbiased, objective way as they are measuring your progress with your treatment plan, etc. You mentioned that you feel like there are some barriers to your progress, and you'd like some solutions for that. What specifically are you talking about?
Can we check in with Brian really quick on before we move on from therapy?
Sure. So Vicky, she's been attending therapy regularly the last several weeks. She still tends to be late by a few minutes, but that's getting better. She's always very invested in the progress. Like she said, she's made a lot of realizations. Some attributing to her communication, to her motivation. Why she interacts with people or sometimes seeks out conflict, and we're working through that. But she's very engaged in therapy and continues to make progress.
In what areas do you feel like you're still struggling with progress, Vicky?
Being on time.
Okay.
Definitely.
Let's get specific to the treatment plan, though.
Mm-hmm.
Again, as noted at the beginning of the meeting, we talked about, UA's not happening consistently. The victim of DV therapy needing to happen, the circle of security parenting class. Let's kind of hone in on those three things real quick and see if we have any updates on those, okay? So the floor is all yours.
So I remember that DBT therapy was one of the recommendations, and I wanted to ask Brian, is that what we're doing? Are we doing DBT?
No, DBT has a different set of criteria and things that we're learning. We're not doing DBT right now.
Did that come out of the capacity to parent evaluation, Vicky?
I believe so. And I wanted to ask Brian Brian, what would you like? What would your opinion be on DBT? Since you know me a lot better than Miss Walsh does.
There are several things that I think might be helpful in DBT, and we can talk about it our next session and see if we want to shift there. I think there are a few things that we need to finish working on before we make that shift. Mm-hmm. But I guess I've been trained in DBT too, so I'm capable of doing that if we want to make that shift. The only thing that I would say is DBT is the most effective when you do individual and group. Mm-hmm. And I don't have any DBT groups that I run. And typically doing DBT, we want to have the same individual provider as the one that's running the groups. So if we did that, it would be a little bit atypical.
Mm-hmm. Is that something that that DHS would be able to help me find?
Yeah, of course. We could definitely look at that when Brian recommends that it's a good time for you to transition to DBT individual therapy, and if you're interested in doing the group to get the full aspect of the service, we can definitely look into that more and get you set up before your therapy completely ends with Brian. I just also wanted to ask, you don't have to tell me specifics or anything, but is domestic violence being addressed in your individual therapy right now? Is that another specific therapist I need to set up for you? What does that all look like?
The DV definitely does come up. I have completed a DV therapy through Hilltop, and like I still have everything from that. Like I still have the entire binder of stuff because I go through it, periodically to remind myself, like, what is a trauma reaction that I'm doing that other people might not like understand if they haven't been through it. And so I revisit that therapy a lot. I know that the lady who did my DV assessment said that she was going to follow up with me to do DV therapy. They don't offer the group ever since I started doing the group voluntarily when I first moved here. That's where I first sought out Hilltop. But they quit that after COVID, so they don't offer the DV group anymore. It would just be individual therapy, and I've done that with Jenny Knight at Hilltop, and I completed that. I don't know. I don't think that she gave me like a certificate or anything. I know I've gotten certificates for parenting classes, but I can't remember if I got one for the DV therapy. But I definitely did that, and I definitely have all the materials on that. And I think more.
Vicky,
Yeah.
I wanted to ask Katie, and maybe Cassie recalls as well, the department earlier on in the case took a stance around that, even though Vicky has already completed some of that. Do you recall, Katie? It seems like the department was wanting that to happen again, or maybe more, or I can't remember the details quite specifically.
Yeah, and if I don't know if she's on here. Yeah, if she's on here, she can fill in the gaps too. But my understanding is that it was something to do with the time frames of that being completed, and so that definitely still needs to be completed. It's a requirement. And with that release of information you just sent me, I should be able to authorize those services and get that going. And so, I will definitely follow up on that and get at least the DV portion through Hilltop set up for you. I believe that was on the release of information. If not, we're meeting here soon and can get that done pretty quickly, I feel like. Yeah.
Was
Go
that
ahead.
with Melanie Taylor?
Yeah, sorry. I just wanted to clarify Katie, what are you authorizing to do through Hilltop?
So it would be an individual therapy surrounding domestic violence specifically, and then I will check with them to see if they do a DV group again or if they're getting one started, because that's also a recommendation, and if not, then I will find a specific DV therapy group to get authorized and everything like that. So,
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, and I just reviewed the notes. It looks like that was another recommendation that came out of the capacity to parent evaluation, which I presume Ms. Walsh was aware that you had done some work on that before, Vicki, but she was recommending more. Cassie, do you have any other further insight on that?
No, that was it. That obviously that was done prior to this case being open, so it wasn't fully addressed.
Okay.
and so you're talking about services, I just wanted to update the team that Vicki has chosen to do a drug and alcohol class with Melanie Taylor. And Brian, I'm hoping to speak more about this with you because she said that it's more of a DBT setting. And so I don't know really what that all entails, if that's possible or if that would count for her DBT therapy. I don't know. So I was hoping to get more clarification from you on that. But Vicki did agree to go to Melanie Taylor for that recommendation. And then for the Circle of Security class, there's another one being offered. I think her name's Alexis or something of that sort. And I sent Vicki the flyer for that because it's Medicaid funded. Vicki, you'll just have to go and set that up. And it does start pretty soon, I think. And it shouldn't interfere with your visits this time. It's Thursdays at 10 a.m., I believe. And so hopefully that will be a better fit. And so you can get that class done. And then I just wanted to let the team know that Vicki also graciously requested to do another online parenting class through the Griffith Center to talk, more about like the trauma-based stuff. And so we are in the process of getting that one set up as well. And I did talk with Vicki and let her know that my online parenting class isn't in replace of the Circle of Security class, but she's welcome to do both, and she has greatly chose to do. And so we are just working on really getting all of that set up, and I'm hoping to have them authorized. I'm hoping before our meeting, Vicki, so that way we could get the ball rolling. So if I could get that ROI back with Melanie Taylor in the first part of that section that I sent you, that would be great. And then we can really get the ball going. But I did want to tuck in because I know last time we spoke, Vicki, you were talking about how you weren't doing your UAs because of the active warrants and how those have been dealt with now. And then there's been a couple notifications I've gathered that you've missed UAs. So is there an issue with you getting called for those? Is it still the agency? What do we need to fix that?
There's another warrant for my arrest.
And so either on that release of information, you can initial, I think it's still MCC on the ROI, but it's now known as ProCom.
Mm-hmm.
And they are on North 12th Street, kind of near that college. And so they're not affiliated with probation or anything like that. And I know a lot of my clients with active warrants who are dealing with cases prefer to go there because they're not obligated to notify law enforcement. I don't even think they are aware if clients have active warrants. And so that has helped some of my clients get that done because no results are looked at as positive ones. And so I really want to make sure that we can mitigate that concern at least.
I think that is the best idea, honestly, because I'm sick of the, it's like, I'm damned if I do, damned if I don't. Like, I have to take a drug test today. If I go take the drug test, I will miss my visit with my kid. And this is being done to me intentionally. And I'm just going to say that I'm not paranoid at this point. I've got all the receipts. But yes, I need to be able to take my drug test without being afraid to miss out on visits with my kids. And so I think it's time to change. And then I'm going to be revoking the ROI for CJSD because I mean, there's just so much. I've just got to talk to you like personally about that. But yes, I agree. I'm going to sign for ProCom. Let's get that started right away.
Yeah, and we could definitely talk more about that stuff as well when we meet if you feel more comfortable in that setting. But so to let you know, though, full transparency with ProCom, what will happen is I will send out the authorization. I will let you know when that agency has confirmed it, and then you will have to take the initiative to go do the intake paperwork. And that will have to happen before they call you. So I know when we set up CGSD, we just sent the paperwork and then they started notifying you. But there's an extra step with ProCom. You got to go do the intake paperwork first, and then they'll start notifying you. And so just be aware when I let you know, and I'll make sure to communicate this at that time too in case. But that will need to be done before you get notifications. And then hopefully we could start doing that. Would you be... Hold on, let me sit on this thought for a second. But would you be willing to complete a hair follicle test to show a length of sobriety? I think it goes back like 2 or 3 months, and so it in a way makes up for the missed UAs. Is that something you're willing to do?
I will talk to you about that in person as well.
Vicki, do you know what you need to do to take care of your current warrant?
Yes, I'm just waiting for the police chief to email me back.
Okay, it's a little hard to hear you unless you're a little closer to your microphone, but it sounds like you're waiting to hear back to contact you.
Yes. I'm waiting on the police chief to call me. Call me or email me back. I've emailed the internal affairs and the police chief. There's one certain officer who's now a detective that is a little bit overzealous in getting revenge against me for something. Can you guys hear me better? Is this better at all? No. Okay, they're right. I'm trying to see if I could use a...
You were doing, but just speak up a little bit and just face the camera and we should be good.
Okay. So yes. There is a certain detective who has got some hard feelings about some previous issues that were dismissed and I was exonerated of. And it's a lot. It's a lot to explain. So I'm just going to hope and pray that it works itself out at the administrative level. But if not, of him, just of him and what he's capable of doing. And if he's willing to go in and lie to a judge or a magistrate, like to their face, what else is he willing to do to, get what he wants? And so I just want everyone to just be aware of that and just keep, if there's anything that needs to come to my attention, just please bring it to my attention. And if anybody has any ideas on how I could possibly keep myself safe, I'm open to suggestions.
Concerns noted, and lines up with the timing of getting a DV victim therapist set up and someone who can focus specifically on that conversation with you and safety planning. Tony, go ahead.
Man, I'm really not good at this. I apologize. I just wanted to kind of piggyback off of what Vicki just said, because as an outsider looking in, I too feel that Austin has malicious intent with everything that he's doing. Especially, I don't know if you guys are aware of this most recent incident. I'm not going to go into it, but I do feel like that he is very maliciously active in her life and when it comes to the children as well.
The specific incident you're referring to, Katie, do you have that information, or is that something you would share with Katie during your meeting?
I think I have that information, Vicky, and if not, we can definitely talk about that one-on-one. And just know, like, I am having conversations and things are happening, like, behind the scenes, and I definitely understand your concerns and where those anxieties come from and stuff like that, but just as much as you can, please don't let that prevent you from making progress on your treatment plan and with your kids, because we are on a timeline, unfortunately, and we can't have, much more delays and things of that nature. So I understand where you're coming from, and we still got to see that progress and change.
Thank you, Joni. That is part of what I asked when the next court date was. I looked at the calendar, and it looks like it is a review hearing in October. I do know that the department has filed for APR and TPR, and wondering if those hearings have been set or where things stand there.
We are actually waiting to file for APR and TPR just because I'm new to the case and so is the county attorney, and we are going to be staffing it in management team, as I've already explained to Vicki, just to make sure everyone's on the same page, and just in general about case direction and see if there's anything else that needs to be checked up on. And I have let Vicki know if that's still the route that the department has decided to go, then I'll let her know for sure. So it's not filed yet.
When is that meeting? Do you know? I don't need the date, but the week.
I think it's in October as well.
Okay, so if it's going to be a month, I'm going to file before then.
Yeah, it's October.
So there's no surprise.
October 17th, yeah.
Okay. Then, given the concerns of why the department's involved in the first place, and I want to delve into the conversation a little bit more before we part ways today, Vicki, about your choice to get into drug and alcohol counseling with Melanie Taylor. I don't know if you have had an opportunity to talk with Cassie yet about your decision behind doing that, and or if you want to share that with the team today.
I've actually never had an opportunity to speak with Cassie. Cassie's never had an opportunity to see me with my children. Cassie has not reached out to me or anything like that. And so if she's going to file for APR and TPR, then do it. And you're not going to get what you want. I don't know why that's what you want, but it's not going to happen.
Do you want to talk with the team more about your choice in starting drug and alcohol classes?
It was suggested to me by the capacity to parent evaluation. And so I'm trying to do that. And it's also going to be in a DBT setting, which was also one of the recommendations. And so I'm trying to get that taken care of.
Okay, team. When does it make sense then for us to come back together? $60 days, or do we need to come together sooner than that?
We need to come together sooner than that. At 30 days, if there's going to be actions for TPR and APR, then we're going to need to meet like as soon as everybody can meet.
Okay, sorry. I'm pausing.
Is the court date set up for the 11th?
Yes.
Okay, so that I was just looking at that as far as 30 days. With this, it would be 30 days from. Would it be the same week then as the court date, or what?
So maybe it makes sense to come together after that. I'm going to look at the following week, October 14th, and I'm going to propose. Hang on, I have to pull up one more calendar here. All right. Oh, wow. Okay, busy week for everyone. Let's see. Oh, wow, team. We can either do 4:30 on Tuesday the 15th, or I'm going to have to look at the next week. Monday, October 21st at 11 a.m. Cassie, are you available both of those days?
Probably.
Okay. It's looking like October 21st at 11 a.m. is going to be the most ideal time. Is there anyone that does not work for? Dan, it looks like both work for you. Audrey, okay. Okay, team, I'll send out the invite then for October 21st, which is a Monday at 11 a.m. virtual. And of course, you'll be having discussions in the interim one-on-one as team members. So thank you for your time today.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you. Bye.